Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and oh boy, it is a great news day. Although, I think this was announced like 1 or 2 days ago, but still. Oh, you knew I was going to cover it. Chipman is out as the ATF head. Oh wait, wrong channel. No, Wizards is banning some stuff. What good timing. I'm going to a gun show this Friday. I just realized it's probably going to be really crowded. But before we jump into the ban, I wanted to throw in something that doesn't merit its own video, but it's pretty funny. Wizards customer support on Twitter, the official account, they tweeted out today, we tried to sneak in some back-end updates today. Some of you haven't stopped playing since then. And we kind of need you to restart your client. If you're one of those folks, you'll see an in-game message shortly. Now, why do they need to tweet about it if you're going to see an in-game message? I'd like to think because they wanted to like publicly shame these people to be like, you've been playing for 8 hours straight. My God, can you just do something else for a second? I mean, we're not going to judge, but at least reboot your client and then keep playing. My gosh. But really, obviously, people just left it running in the background unattended. And then they're not going to see the message, but maybe they'd see the tweet. But I just thought that was funny. I had to share it. So the ban announcement. So this came out September 8th, and it only affects Pauper. But my God, is this egregious? Like, I mean, I'd say I don't care about Pauper, but that's not true. I think it's wonderful. I think it was a great invention. I don't personally play it, but I mean, affordable, low-powered, fun Magic, sure. Until Wizards release Modern Horizons 2. So I'm going to roast them hard on this, but don't get me wrong. I'm not like the biggest Pauper super fan in the world. I just appreciate that it's a thing. So I don't want, Wizards ruining it even if I don't play it. So they have banned Chatterstorm and Sojourner's Companion, both of which were in MH2. So obviously one's a Storm card and one's an Affinity card. And then remember, they added in Artifact Lands too, which were, I guess, tied for the first thing to ever be banned in Modern. And that was after they were banned in, that was so long ago. Was it even called Standard? I want to say Extended for sure. I don't know. I've heard secondhand sources. But yeah, they were problematic, so they brought those back. Everybody hates Affinity in Modern. They're sick of it. Nobody even plays it anymore. So they brought that back and injected it into Pauper. And then they also brought Storm in, which is what the Storm scale is named after. And it's a 10 on the Storm scale, I think. I thought somebody told me it was a 9. They better not have. And I know you're about to say it. And you know I'm about to say it, but the Storm scale only applies to Standard Constructed. Oh, I'm sorry. So if it's not okay for Standard, it's rated a 10 out of 10. We're never going to do this. Holy crap, this was a giant mistake. This is the worst mechanic ever created. This ruined the game. Like, it's almost like an apology to the people at the time. Oh, but in every other format, it's fine. Because as soon as you jump out of Standard and put it into Pauper, it's fine, obviously. Who thinks like that? A couple absolute big-brained, high IQ Pop-Tarts always post that in my comment section every time I say, why would you take shit just off like 7 and up on the Storm scale and just throw it into anything? Those mechanics should be dead and buried for a damn good reason. And remember, in MH1, I think it was, they tried to bring back what was Dredge, I think it was, and then they had to like ban that after pretending it wasn't the problem and then coming back and banning, what was it, Diregraph or something? I don't even remember. And that's like right on the heels of banning Grave Troll or whatever. Yeah. Stop looking at the banned list and the Storm scale for inspiration for what to do to other formats. Now, the other thing, if we were to go one level higher here and just take a step back, why would they try to engineer new cards for Pauper? Because when they do it for Commander, it's like they want to sell cards. They want to sell sets. They want to sell singles. They want to up the value. They want to have demand for the cards so that people buy them. Okay, cool. That is literally never going to happen with commons. Try and name a common that's worth over $1 right now. That isn't like a collectible super limited edition or more than 20 years old. Why did they even try? Why'd they even bother? And did they really think that the power level of Pauper needed to be jacked up? Because it doesn't. The whole point is that it's low power. So whoever thought adding Storm and Affinity, or not even adding it, but like making it worse in Pauper was a good idea is out of their minds. There's no logic there. Everybody knew they were wrong. Everybody saw these and said, well, they'll be banned, and then fast forward, well, they're banned. Like, if you're still not getting the scope of the stupidity here, and the carelessness, and the almost like you gotta wonder active malice, like actually trolling the fan base. Like somebody who hates Pauper was like, well, let's give him Storm and Affinity and Artifact Lands. Ha 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 ha! As I twirl my mustache like an evil villain. So, I mean, if you just don't understand the amount of screw up here, when I've said it before, like these people's job is to sit there for 8 hours a day and test the cards and design cards and just pore over every combination and just obsessively make sure everything is perfect because it is the biggest card game in the world and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. And like, this is the result, is Chatterstorm and Sojourner's Companion. Wow. There's one more thing I wanted to point out. This just kind of struck me. Okay, so Hasbro's amount of money in and out per year and their total company valuation is, in the billions. Between Virgin Galactic, Amazon, what's the other one? Blue Sky, there's a couple others. There's companies with about the same budget and cash flow, just kind of in the neighborhood of it, putting humans into space, planning trips to Mars, launching satellites, building space stations, and with roughly the same amount of money, just in the neighborhood. It's not that far off. What Wizards of the Coast manages to do is put Chatterstorm and Sojourner's Companion into Pauper. So some humans are putting other humans into space, and other humans from Seattle are putting Chatterstorm into Pauper. Just for a comparison. Just to set the groundwork so that you can realize how absolutely their company is. When I say Wizards of the Coast has the stupidest human beings on the planet employed, the most careless, and the worst corporate structure with no consequences, no questioning anyone, just garbage structure from top to bottom. It's not a meme, it's not a joke, it's not an exaggeration. I am not kidding. If anything, I'm being nice. These people with the amount of money that's on the line and their status as the biggest card game ever, with this being the effort, where everything they release breaks everything. MH1 was a disaster, MH2 was a disaster, they screwed up EMA, they screwed up Masters 25, Iconic Masters was a disaster, then they canceled it, then they brought it back, then we have Ikoria and Eldraine. It's like, how does this keep happening? They have 26 years of examples and experience and lessons to go by, and this is what we get. So anyway, let's read their justification for this. And they are right. I'm not saying they shouldn't have banned this. It's just, wow. So they say Modern Horizons 2 introduced many new high-impact cards to Pauper. I honestly cannot believe they had the balls to make that the first sentence. And we've been watching the metagame absorb and adapt to those additions over the last several weeks. Now, how's that working out for you? What did you learn from that? What's the result? Did you have to ban 2 of the cards from it? The ones that people complained about the most during, not even when they started playing with it, but when they first saw them. Day 1 when they saw them, people were like, well, that's going to ruin the format and going to have to go. I don't want this. The mechanics are awful. Why the hell did you do this? And then, well, now look, it ruined everything. It's overpowered. Everybody hates it. And now they have to ban it. So how does the entire community know more about the game than Wizards? They're getting paid to do this. It's their jobs. Holy shit. So in the last several weeks, in that time, Storm and Affinity decks have risen to occupy a large share of the metagame. Who would have seen that coming? We've heard community feedback, have you now, that metagame pressures from Storm and Affinity have pushed out a variety of deck options that were previously viable. And also, they mentioned later, and suppressed any kind of deck building creativity too. In recent weeks, Storm combo decks had the highest non-mirror match win rate among top decks and earned by far the most 5-0 performances on Magic Online leagues, which apparently some people still play. Well, that is the only affordable way to play MTGO. I'll give you that. Play Pauper. These decks use fast mana to power out a large Chatterstorm. I can't believe they actually said that and then didn't do anything about the fast mana. Often in combination with First Day of Class. Oh, look at that. Strixhaven card. I believe everybody with a brain had some comments about that card on day 1 of spoilers too. To create an insurmountable board state or even win the game on the spot. Okay, whoever wrote this is like roasting the people who designed these cards. There is no way that this was written by the people who designed the cards. In fact, it was written by Ian Duke, and I don't think he works in design, does he? Actually, he might. I'm not sure. I don't know. Well, maybe he was against these 2 cards. They seem like Mark Rosewater ideas to me. So, given the limitations of the Pauper card pool, many decks struggle to interact with this win con. Therefore, to address Storm's high win rate... Oh, by the way, anybody about to say, well, get good, play around it, adapt your deck, sideboard. No, even Wizards is admitting there is no way to stop this. Not within reason. And then, should you have to replace 10 to 20% of the cards in your deck just to stop another degenerate deck? No, you shouldn't. You should be able to build whatever the hell you want to build. To an extent, obviously, there's limits, but they say, therefore, to address Storm's high win rate, high metagame share, and difficulty to interact with, we are banning Chatterstorm. Good, never do it again. Never, ever, ever print Storm or Affinity ever again. Or you know what? Dredge, or in fact, or mill, or alternate win cons, or anything else that people hate, Red Rush, Turn 4 Blitz crap, especially in Pauper. So wait till you hear this one. We considered banning Galvanic Relay, another MH2 card, as well, but our hope is to allow players to experiment with slower, lower-powered versions of the deck. Well, no. If those two adjectives are true, they're not going to play it. Additionally, we've seen the card being used in other contexts where it's more about generating value than winning the game on the spot. Oh, so people are using a Storm card to do not Storm stuff. Storm is a stupid gimmick where you win the game all in one glass cannon. If they disrupt it, you lose. It's one tiny step away from Charbelcher, okay? People don't like the whole all-in, I get it or I forfeit glass cannon combos, as they're called. And that's what Storm is. You empty your hand, cast everything for a reduced cost, and then hope that the last one goes off. And if you get counterspelled or they gain life or they stop it, you basically have nothing. You can't rebuild in most cases, and then you just forfeit. It is so boring. It's so binary. It's so repetitive. Nobody wants this in any format. So the fact that they came out and basically said, well, people are running Galvanic Relay to do like other things, like they're actually getting value from it instead of just Storm, I win, woo! That's just sad. When Storm has devolved to, oh, maybe people won't use it for Storm. Maybe you shouldn't have put it in the first place. Because the Storm scale is called the Storm scale. Do we need to rename it the top 10 list of shit that players hate? Would that be more clear to you? Would that give you the right idea that you should stop looking to it for inspiration? My God, do I hate some of the people at Wizards. So Affinity. Wait until you hear this one. So Affinity has been a slightly different case in that from a pure win rate perspective, the metagame seems to adapt successfully. Get this, with the most popular Grixis Affinity variants settling in at just under a 50% win rate. So even non-mirror match win rate. They do filter out mirror matches because 50%, and then they don't want that throwing it off. So they're at least intelligent in that respect, and they're going to look intelligent for about 3 seconds until you kind of clicks in your brain what they're about to say here. That said, while Affinity was being kept in check by a small number of top decks, its win rate against many of the less represented decks was high. So it won against stupid net decks, but anybody who has like a brain and creativity wants to, deck build in a deck building game, they were losing to this gimmicky ramping trash. So to open up the metagame to more diversity, we're choosing to ban Sojourner's Companion. We considered other options such as ATOG or Disciple of the Vault. You'll never guess how recently Disciple of the Vault was printed. You'll never guess. But opted to preserve the unique gameplay style of the deck. So they're just kind of taking it down a little bit. And honestly, Sojourner's Companion does not look like the most important or powerful card in the deck. So that's what they usually do when they want it to still be a thing, because apparently they want Affinity for artifacts to still be a thing for some reason. Even though it's universally reviled by 99% of the community. Nope, they want it to still be a thing, so they're just going to take it down a couple percent instead of just destroying the entire deck. So like Amulet Bloom and, what was that other one? The other one people are pissed about, that other stupid broken cloning pile of shit. You ban the main card in it, the deck's dead. It has nothing else to do. But, I mean, you take Sojourner's Companion out of Affinity, okay, it's a couple percent weaker, My question is, if it already had a sub 50% win rate, and now you knocked it down another peg, who the hell is going to continue to play it? So if I were you, I would have banned all of the artifact lands, everything with the word Affinity for artifacts on it, and just be done with it. Just rip the band-aid off, get rid of it, and let people move on with their lives and not play against this trash, because everybody hates artifact Affinity. But I think they know what they did. So just the fact that they came in and said, well, this has a sub 50% win rate, but it's on our radar because it's beating non-net decks, and since net deckers are douchebag assholes, and people who build 10 different decks because they have 10 different deck ideas spend more on MTGO, maybe we should stop pissing them off and suppressing them. And plus, if you kind of take another step back, like, why did they target MH2 at Pauper? Because clearly they did. It was to mix up the format a little bit, because if it gets stale and repetitive and nothing ever changes in the meta, then people stop playing it because it gets boring. Well, if you've got every new deck idea that people are working on getting its ass kicked by this trash, then people are just going to, nothing new is going to enter the tier 1 or tier 1.5 meta. So they banned this to up the deck diversity and to let up-and-coming decks actually do something. That's what's really behind this, clearly. Because, like I said, that was the original intention, clearly, of MH2. So what they're telling you isn't really the full truth, as is usual, because they're playing, nanny state. We want to micromanage everything. We know better than you, and we're gonna give you half truths and gaslight you and all this shit. And then they think like it's just like Arena. Like they thought they knew better than you about fun games and preventing problems, so they added in that little opening hand assistance program where they pull 2 opening hands and then select the best of the 2 silently in the background without ever telling you. And then when people figured out something weird was going on, then the devs went on the forums and admitted it and said, yes, there's a hand assistance program because nobody likes, a 1 or 2 lander mulling to 4, and then you've just already lost. They said if we do it equally, it's fair, which I do agree with, except then people won entire tournaments with 13 mountain decks because they abused the opening hand system. So it turns out, even with the best of intentions and the best planning, they still shouldn't be, micromanaging this shit because they've proven they're too stupid to do it. I mean, once again, they threw Storm and Affinity into Pauper on purpose and thought it was a good thing. These are the people micromanaging your formats. I'd rather have a chimpanzee throwing darts at balloons with cards inside of them, and whatever they hit, you ban that, because it would probably get better results. So finally, they end with, we're aware that some players have voiced other potential metagame concerns that could result from Storm and Affinity being weakened, but due to the unique nature of the Pauper card pool and the complexity of the metagame, we've chosen to start with these 2 changes and observe in practice if further changes are needed, rather than try to predict and preempt cascading metagame changes. I kid you not, they were savage enough to use the word cascading in a sentence explaining why they haven't banned anything else that people want out of the game. Holy actual shit. Ian Duke gets Troll of the Century Award for writing that. Oh my god. So get this, they announced it on the 8th. The active, effective date on MTGO was the 8th. Just blindsiding people. No 1 week waiting period, nothing. Instead of okay, we're going to work our way into it. If you want to still play it, do this. We're giving you a week to update your deck. They're like, hey, it's probably already gone by the time you're reading this. Rug pull. Oh, so that's all I have to say about this ban announcement. Just kidding. You knew this was coming. Holy shit. I get it. You're not going to ban something from standard 3 or 4 weeks before rotation, okay? But you should have banned something 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. Hell, how the hell is Luris and Winota and Scoot Swarm and Zenith Flare and Auspicious and Yorion, aka the Yo-Yo Bouncy Boy? They're all still in standard, okay? Why haven't they been banned a year ago? Why were they even printed in the first place? Why do you still let Mark design mechanics? We could go so many layers back, why hasn't Mark been fired 10 years ago? Why did you hire him in the first place? We need a time machine to fix this timeline at this point. But okay, let's let the past be the past. Why haven't you pre-announced that you're going to be banning things like at least Exalted? Because who wants Exalted, Book of Exalted Deeds, and that stupid land that somehow is an angel? Who wants that in their game? Who even wants Book of Exalted Deeds, period, by itself? I don't want Platinum Angel tokens flying around, okay? I don't. That deck is already the #1 tier 1 deck in the world right now. I don't care what anybody says, what statistics say or whatever. I play Arena every day. I've put hundreds of games into the 2022 queue, and I've seen what the #1 person in Mythic ranked, and the first person to get to Mythic 1 ranked, by the way. They did it in about 8 days. I saw what they were playing. Shocker, White Life Gain Angel with the 35 and win piece of shit, which also needs to be banned immediately. So you mix that with Book of Exalted Deeds, and then that stupid land, the whole deck just, it's already too far. Now it's just insane. So, considering they already banned it in the 2022 queue, then accidentally unbanned it, and then still haven't rebanned it 2 weeks later, which, what even is that? Why haven't they at least tacked onto this one, okay, we're gonna pre-ban that, and we're gonna fix it in Arena within a week, or whatever. Just anything about that stupid card, because it was a mistake. And you know what, at this point, if I had to pick one of the combo, I'd pick the Manland. I'd pick Faceless Haven. I want that gone more than I want Book of Exalted Deeds gone. But I want Spirit of the Elder Guard gone more than both of them. And Crawling Barrens is kind of annoying too. If you're not familiar, Spirit of the Elder Guard is, I think, a 2-drop, and you pay 2 to turn a land into a hexproof 4/4. So even on your opponent's turn, you can't destroy the land. You're just going to get hit by a land over and over and over until you lose. Whoever thought that was a good idea needs to be fired immediately. There's no excuse for that. They don't know how to design Magic cards. They don't know how to test them. Anybody involved with that card needs to be fired. But what I'm hoping here is when rotation happens, when we're going to lose half the cards in Standard and rebuild all of our decks, they take the time to simultaneously ban a bunch of cards. Okay? It looks like Midnight Hunt is a lot lower power, sparing that 1 5-cost enchantment, which obviously Mark Rosewater designed, but they can ban that too. I don't care. With that and the last set, they are very clearly going to a much lower power level than the crazy out of control shit that we've seen in the last 2 years. So if they really want to clean it up, they would make a ban announcement that coincides or slightly predates, like ahead of time, like maybe a week at a time, or maybe, 3 or 4 weeks at a time. In other words, right now, September 8th, this ban announcement right here, they should have also said we're banning Scoot Swarm, Westgate Region, Terragrid, Prosperous Innkeeper, or any of the Ajani's Primate clones, because it's the combo, that's the problem. Elvish Warmaster, because holy shit, why wasn't that legendary? Spirit of the Elder Guard, Teleportation Circle, Zerasan, and Vorinclex. And that's it. There's really not much more than that. I mean, there's some cards I would like gone because I don't like them, but like this is the list of things that need to go now. They are broken, they are too powerful, they're too fast, they're too consistent. You might have noticed I didn't even put Flying Tarmogoyf on here, aka, what is it, Vampire Night Stalker on steroids? I don't remember the actual name, I've given it so many damn nicknames, but the Flying Death Touch Lifelink thing that gets bigger based on the graveyard. Yeah, Flying Death Touch Lifelink Tarmogoyf, that thing. Absolutely egregious card, but black doesn't have that many good flyers, so leave it in. Like, I was so conservative making this list, but Westgate Region, every time you hit them, double its power and toughness. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Do you know how many stop it from dying, or when it dies, return it to play there are? In black, that card needs to go. It needs to get the hell out of there. Terragrid and her stupid lantern, she can take it and shove it up her ass. Prosperous Innkeeper, the turn 1 ramp is just too good, and then you got the ongoing trigger in a combination that's only going to get worse with Midnight Hunt. Some of the things I mentioned are only legal on Arena because they're A-Series cards. So that's an easy fix. They aren't even in Standard in the first place. I guess I should put Book of Exalted Deeds or the Manland on here, obviously. But yeah, I mean, that's a fairly short list. I mean, yeah, that would be like the biggest ban announcement ever, I think. But you get rid of these cards, Standard would be like amazing. Like everybody would come back and play it again. For real. Like not even fucking around. Everybody would come back to Arena and play it again. Because they, like with this shit gone and the power level shrunk, it would actually be somewhat almost enjoyable. Although they might have to get rid of something out of black-red treasures. I don't know. That deck's a little too good, but I've spent weeks playing in the 2022 pre-rotated queue, and there is such an insane deck diversity. There's like 30 decks that are all extremely good. They're all almost as good as each other. Like within, you could still win. It might be a 45-55 split, percentage of winning, but it's, it's not like you've already lost. You can pretty much come up with anything somewhat effective and play with it. Which, wait a minute. I do believe that's how I described Magic 5 years ago. We need to go back there. And if you just think that's my opinion, I may be right or wrong, they had double to triple the number of customers back then. So when I say we need to go back there, I mean we need to go back there. And rotation is the best time to do it. So if we didn't see it this ban announcement, we better see a ban announcement in the next couple weeks. During, shortly after, or preferably shortly before the rotation, with an effective date of the release of Midnight Hunt. If we don't see that, and garbage like Scoot Swarm is still in the meta, and still in the game and still legal, and all this teleportation circle, Cat's Chariot, flicker shit, Zereth Sand, where I have one half of one phase to stop him, or he's gonna take an Ugin out of my graveyard and cast him. Although Ugin rotates out, but still. Nah, nobody's coming back to play that shit. And remember, whenever there's a rotation, people jump on, they're like, let's try it for a couple days. And you get one chance to let people see what the meta looks like and let people know how egregious these combos are and how shit the meta still is, and then they're leaving. If it's still just as shit as it was last year and the rotation before that the year before, they are out. Goodbye. I mean, they didn't even have to add servers last time, I'm convinced, because so many people, logged in, killed the servers, everything was lagging, and then like 2 days later it was back to normal. Because everyone was just like, oh, Standard is still shit. Okay, it's still just Red Rush crap control. Yeah, okay, I'm out. You have like 1 to 3 days after rotation, Wizards, to have people go back to Arena and stay there. Do not blow this. Do not say, let's wait and see. Let's wait a month and look at the numbers. Let's wait for some MTGO League tournaments. No. Look at the 2022 queue right now. Ask the community what they can't stand about it right now. Look at the win rates right now. Ignore Midnight Hunt and just ban what's problematic right now. This whole wait and see. We don't want to predict. We don't want to preempt cascading metagame changes. We're not going to, observe it until it's in practice and all this other shit that they just said. No, because then everybody's gone. Okay. We don't wait for you to fix it. So if you're waiting to fix it, to wait and see, oh, maybe it'll correct itself. Maybe it'll get better. Well, maybe it won't. But whether it does or not, people already left is what I'm saying. The customers are already gone. You're not going to get them back. So this whole let's wait for a couple weeks after release to see what where the cookies fall, where the chips fall. No, don't do that, Wizards. That doesn't work. There is a no-win scenario here because, like I said, a couple days in, people are like, F this, and they've already left. I cannot stress that enough. So preemptively ban this shit. And the real reason here is because if you ban it right when rotation happens, it's just like, oh, I'm losing 3,000 cards and then I'm also losing 5 more cards. Yeah, who cares? Everybody's already rebuilding their decks. It'll be such a nothing. You could ban 12 cards and nobody would give a shit. It is the only time that you should do a large, scale, fix it all in one swing ban. Because you do it mid-season, everybody's just gonna get pissed off and leave. They're just gonna storm off and protest because you just cost them $200 and killed their deck. Not to mention all the wild cards and shit. I mean, seriously. And then remember, they upped the renewal egg thing and gave people just outrageous numbers of packs and wild cards just for like, rotation happened, you just lost all your decks and lost all your value that you paid for over the whole last year. Please don't leave. What if they also made a ban announcement banning 10 cards and then gave people 40 wild cards because of it? I'm just saying that it all falls together awfully nicely, don't you think? So clearly I'm smarter than anybody at Wizards. Please, Wizards, put me in charge of the ban announcements. It'll be the best $100 million you've ever saved. And then right when that's done, you know what? I wouldn't even leave. I wouldn't just be like, my job here is done. I would also be in charge of HR and fire all the blue-haired SJW psychotic, racist, anti-white, anti-male, angry at the world assholes too. I'll solve 2 of your problems for 1 paycheck. You know what? F it. I made enough money last weekend. I'll do it for free. I will do it as a volunteer position. Put me in charge. Hashtag Des for Hasbro President 2024. Just kidding. That'd be way too late. Magic won't even exist in 2024 if they keep doing this shit. So yeah, I mean, that's part 2 of the ban announcement. The what isn't there, which is almost more important than what is there. But thank God they're taking action. Shout out to, my Popper brothers. Like I said, I'm not that into it, but yeah, 2 banes of your existence out of the format. So, have fun with that. So thanks for watching, everybody. And I'll see you guys next video. I'm gonna go buy some sushi.